What's up, guys? So in this video, I'm going to be talking about how to never repeat the same mistakes again. And this is a very important topic. Please stay tuned. All right. So imagine you're driving from home and you're going to work, and on your way to work, you run into a pothole, right? An example of a person who does not learn would be one where you go back home the next day, you drive to work, and drive over the same pothole, and you do it again the third day, you drive over the pothole, the fourth day you drive over the pothole. Each time that you drive over the pothole is an example of you not learning, right? Because you have the same conditions, but your behaviors are not changing. An example of a person who learns would be you drive from home and you're headed to work, you drive over a pothole, right? It's your first day. Then the second day you drive from home, you see the pothole and you remember the pothole, you avoid the pothole, right? That's an example of you learning because you have the same conditions, but your behaviors are different, all right? So if that's what learning is, same conditions, different behaviors, then this is how we avoid making the same mistakes over and over again, right? Because in life, we have things that we might not think of as mistakes, but really are. For example, let's say you have rent coming up on the 1st, and every time on the 1st, you're late on rent because you overspent, right? That's like driving over the pothole, right? The first time that you are late on rent is like kind of like driving over the pothole. But if the following month comes and you're late on rent again, at this point, you're not learning anymore, right? Because you encountered the pothole and you ran over it again. And if the third month comes, then clearly you're not learning something, right? So to not repeat that same mistake would be being late on rent, realizing you overspent, then saying, okay, I need a budget because I cannot let that happen again. And so if a person learns, they would be late on rent that first time, and then the second month comes by, they've budgeted, and so they're prepared for the first of the month when rent is due, right? That's an example of learning and not repeating the same mistakes. And it's not just in finances, right? It could be at work, right? Let's say there are things at work that we don't even think of as mistakes, but really are. Like if you're a person who misses deadlines, right? At work, they give you a project and the deadline comes and you don't hit the deadline. You always miss the deadline, right? The first time you do that, perhaps that's a mistake and it's an opportunity to learn. But if every project that's given to you has a missed deadline, then we're not learning. So we learn by saying, okay, I missed the deadline last month. I can't let that happen again. And so you start the project earlier than you normally would. And then when the deadline comes, you're already prepared with the work. That's learning. So how do we do that? How do we come up with ways to not repeat the same mistakes? There is one way that I found works because this is what I use, and that's coming up with principles, right? If there's a mistake that I constantly run into, I realize, okay, this is an issue that I'm having repeat, so I need to come up with a solution to it. And there's a process to coming up with this solution, right? So let's say I identify an issue, like I overspent. If the issue is overspending, then I need to come up with solutions, and I test the solutions, right? Then I would budget like 60% of the check, right? And see if the following month I'm prepared for every bill that I have due. If that works, then okay, I test it one more time. If the following month it works again, then I know that I have a solution to my overspending. If that solution is something that I can rely on, then it becomes a principle, right? And then it's like I save 60% of my check, right? That's a principle that I have because I know that if I don't follow that principle, I'm gonna repeat the same mistakes that I was repeating months ago, right? So if I'm late to deadlines, I'm like, okay, every month I'm late to deadlines. Then I test solutions to my deadline issue, which would be maybe starting out early, right? Just starting my work early. If I'm hitting the deadlines, then I know that starting early is a solution to my missing the deadline problem, right? So the idea here is whatever your issue is, whatever mistake you see recurring in your life, first identify that issue, then make solutions to that issue, right? Test them out. And the solution that works, it becomes a principle that you live by. All right. And if you can do this over and over with each issue that you see recurring in your life, you're going to find that you rarely make the same mistake. And I hope that was helpful to you. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.